Hey,
Unknown
Josh, it's Rick
participant is now
Stillman
joining.
for the Minnesota Vikings. Can you hear me?
What?
Josh?
Unknown participant is now exiting.
You'd think after 20 of these picks you could figure this out, Rick.
What are you talking about?
Just wait till the little computer says he's in the room. And then...
Mike Zimmer, Vikings coach, giving GM Rick Spielman a little bit of the business via Zoom. That's kind of Zimmer's way. Zimmer, that great stone fireplace, cannot hide money. I love that thing. And I don't know how warm or cold it was in Kentucky, but even if it was 85 degrees, you got to have a fire raging in that fireplace, which he did. All right, the most intriguing draft picks for 2020, three-man weave. That means we got to have 9 names ready to go. Peter gets the trivia question. Peter gets the first pick if he gets it right. Peter, since 2000, 4 NFL teams have not selected a quarterback in the first round of the draft. 4 teams have not taken a quarterback in round 1. Name 2 of those teams.
New England and New England and San Francisco.
And
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Dallas Cowboys have not taken a quarterback in round 1 since 2000. And I trimmed it down from 3. They wanted you to have to name 3 of the 4. Are you kidding me? It's hard enough to think of 1.
I'm awful at these things anyway.
2. It's hard. When that clock's ticking, when that red light's on, it's hard to process your thoughts. All right, Chris, you got the first pick.
Okay, full transparency here. I'm sick of talking about Jordan Love. I'm sick of talking about Tua, and I'm sick of talking about Jalen Hurts. I'm not picking them, just so everybody knows. They're not. So you guys can pick them. That's fine. I'm not judging or anything like that. I just know
I've been talking them either.
Good. I've been talking about them for 5 days. I've had enough, okay? So I'm not picking him. I'm going to go with Isaiah Simmons as one of the most intriguing picks to me in the whole NFL draft. You know, he was one of those guys, the Arizona Cardinals, picked what I call, and I said this to Isaiah Simmons when I did an interview, I call him a praying mantis with muscles. I mean, that's what he is out there in the football field. He's one of those guys you turn on the film and you go, whoa, who's that guy? He looks really cool and different and faster and longer than everybody else. And I give the Arizona Cardinals a lot of credit here. You know, I think Isaiah Simmons is one of those guys that was way too overanalyzed through this draft process where it's like, whoa, he didn't play one position. I'd like to see him. Listen, put the guy 5 yards off the ball from the line of scrimmage and let him go run down the ball carrier. It's not complicated. He's a freaky athlete. He's physical. He, of course, can run sideline to sidelines. He can cover that way. He's different than anything we've ever seen really at the linebacker position. This is a special, new breed of the NFL, and I'm intrigued to see how they use him and, of course, how successful he can be on that Arizona defense.
All right, Peter, you're up.
I'll take J.K. Dobbins, the 55th pick in this draft by the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll take him because 4 years ago, Ezekiel Elliott was the 4th pick in the NFL draft. J.K. Dobbins this year, the 55th pick in the NFL draft. In their last years at Ohio State, comparing them, J.K. Dobbins was more productive, had more yards per rush, and had the same number of touchdowns. Better in the passing game than Ezekiel Elliott was. And I keep saying to myself, okay, either the Dallas Cowboys went wild with Zeke, or the Baltimore Ravens got one of the steals of this draft and many other drafts in J.K. Dobbins. Give me Dobbins.
Love that pick, Peter.
Yeah, and unlike other teams where a running back comes in as a rookie and it puts the veteran on notice, I think Mark Ingram is going to welcome the presence of J.K. Dobbins, and it's going to extend Mark Ingram's career, and it's going to just diversify that offense even more and just give it another weapon. It's just another weapon for an offense that already was chock full of them. I am going to stay with that same position, and this was one of those eyebrow raisers for me in round 2. When the Colts took Jonathan Taylor, that one was extremally intriguing for me.
Great
we talked
pick.
about what it means for Marlon Mack, which means Marlon Mack, see you later after this season, a guy they've sent out the signals they want to keep. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, the most significant running back the Colts have drafted since Edgerrin James, really, all due respect to who's the guy, Dominic Rhodes, that should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 41. But I think that Jonathan Taylor can be great for the Colts. He was great for Wisconsin. My only concern is, does he have too much wear and tear? But, at a time when you're not sure what your quarterback is going to be, who it's going to be, where you're going to find him beyond this year, having a guy like Taylor makes it easier for the quarterback to play because I think he's going to churn up a ton of yards, touchdowns, et cetera, for the Colts. All right, Chris, you're up.
Yeah, well, I like that pick, Mike. And again, we all fall into this trap, me included, where we just look at the bottom line and the stats of a player and we go, oh, well, he must be good. Marlon Mack ran for 1,000 yards. He must have had a great year. Yeah, it was a good year. It's about what was there to be had, though. And I think if you took like the top 5 running backs in football and put them on the Indianapolis Colts, it would have been 1,600 yards rushing. So I think that's why they evaluated that and said, man, Jonathan Taylor can get a whole lot out of a little. And we open up a lot of big holes, and imagine what he can do with that. So I like that pick, Mike. I mean, I'm really excited about what he brings. All right, I'm going to go to New England for my second-round pick, and specifically the safety they took out of Lenoir-Rhyne. That's right, Lenoir-Rhyne, which when I first saw film on this guy, I was like, where the hell is Lenoir-Rhyne? And I wasn't saying it right either. As we know, me and pronunciation, they're not real good. But 6'1", 217 pounds, ran a 4.49, had a 42-inch vertical. He's one of those guys. Again, it's a little bit of a tough evaluation because of the talent he is playing at that level of college football. But, man, when you talk about a specimen, I wrote down, Mike, and I know you've heard me say this, and Peter, you might, I thought this guy has a chance. Like, his ceiling is Sean Taylor-esque type of talent, to be that big and explosive and be able to turn his hips and not only be good at open field tackling, but in coverage. And then Bill Belichick, where we know he values those hybrid linebacker safety type players so much. I am really excited to see Kyle Duggar and what he can do with the New England Patriots. And if he matches up with what I saw on film, and does it translate to the NFL, or was I tricked by the lack of competition at that level of college football?
My next pick, I'm going to take a wide receiver for the Denver Broncos who is not named Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to take KJ Hamler, the wide receiver for the Broncos, who they picked number 46 overall. And the reason I'm going to take him is that he is going to be Denver's Henry Ruggs. And John Elway, I think he told me something on Friday night after the second and third rounds. He said, when we were studying all the receivers in this draft, because we knew we wanted to get speed, and we're studying the receiver position, and we keep looking at KJ Hamler in that 100-yard kick return he had against Michigan in the 2019 season. And he was so much faster than everybody else that I decided, hey, let's put our watches on this guy and let's do a 40 with him. And you guys probably remember one of the stories with the draft, KJ Hamler did not have a 40 time.
Right.
Didn't work out at the combine, hadn't run one last year at Penn State. Nobody knew what he was as a 40. And all Elway said, he just runs faster than everybody else.
Right.
And they did a 40 time in this 100-yard dash, and it was 3.93 seconds. And as Elway's just laughing, and he just says, look, I know it's from a running start, but he ran 40 yards in 3.93 seconds. And that, plus the fact he's tremendously productive and elusive as well. KJ Hamler is going to be the answer for Denver, they hope, basically to Tyreek Hill.
And it's funny that you mention Henry Ruggs in the KJ Hamler comparison, because Henry Ruggs is my next one, because Henry Ruggs doesn't have Cortland Sutton. He doesn't have Jerry Jeudy. He doesn't have Drew Lock. Henry Ruggs is a man on an island with the Raiders, and he's my pick in round 2 because I keep going back to that graphic of all the guys who ran really fast at the scouting combine at the receiver position for the last 17 years. And it's a milk carton list. It's guys who did nothing in the NFL. And we're still waiting to see if John Ross is going to do anything, but it's kind of the kiss of death. And when you don't have help around you, it's all on Henry Ruggs, and he's the first receiver off the board. The pressure, the expectation, the fast 40 time. I'm very intrigued to see what he can do for the Raiders because the deck is stacked against him just by virtue of the circumstance. It says nothing about his talent, Just the circumstances are not good for Henry Ruggs heading into the NFL. All right, we're going to get right to round 3 of our draft, the most intriguing draft picks in 2020. Chris Sims, you're on the clock, and it's ticking loudly.
Man, I'm stuck. I'm a little torn in between here. All right. I mean, there's two guys.
You had the whole break to make up your mind. You had a whole commercial break to make up your mind.
You know, I wanted to add some flavor here, but I'm going with Chase Claypool, the second-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, that's the guy I mean, Mike, you know, I've been banging the drum for this guy. I think he was one of the more talented guys in the whole draft. I think he deserved to be more in the top receiver conversation. You know, I'm just being in person and seeing Chase Claypool in person the last 3 years. This is one of the freakiest specimens I've ever seen in my life. I've said it's Brandon Marshall, it's Vincent Jackson, except more explosive, you know, and I just look at that mix with him with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he could be the literally go-to guy, number one dangerous weapon for that offense this year. You know, when you're 238 pounds and you ran a 4.4 flat and a 40.5-inch vertical, and you got a guy like Big Ben who could throw the deep ball as well as he can. And then, of course, they have other receivers that'll take a little attention off of him. And we know Pittsburgh's a master at, you know, drafting wide receivers and having a keen eye for that position. I just look at that and would not be shocked if Chase Claypool wasn't the go-to number one target. You know, Notre Dame, he was open a lot last year. They had some issues on offense that led to him not getting the ball as much as he should have. His stats, I think, would have blown people out of the water if he was hit more when he was wide open down the field. But I'm really fascinated by this guy.
So my third pick is another Golden Domer who catches the ball, and it's Cole Kmet. When that pick was first made, number 43 by the Chicago Bears, the first tight end off the board in this draft, I think everybody across America who knows anything about football said, can the Chicago Bears please stop drafting and picking up tight ends? How many do they have? And I went and looked, and at their depth chart, they now have 10. And obviously, they're not all going to go to camp or whatever happens during this season. But the reason I really like this pick is that last year, I know that Matt Nagy was so frustrated at the tight end position because his top 3 tight ends all ended up going on IR. And he said to himself, this will never happen again as long as I'm a head coach. And so he's overdone it at tight end. But now in getting Cole Kmet, in my opinion, you get a separation guy at tight end with great hands and a guy who right away, right now, you put he loves 2 tight end formations, okay? You put Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet out there, even if it's like 3rd and 13. Instead of going 4 wide, I could see you going 2 and 2 because he loves how Cole Kmet can catch the ball in traffic downfield at 6'6". To me, I think Cole Kmet has a really good chance to be an excellent player in the NFL, and he's going to the right head coach.
All right, we're really pinched on time. I don't have a whole lot of opportunity to discuss this one, but kicker Justin Rohrwasser, the 5th-round pick of the New England Patriots with the controversial tattoo on his arm of the 3%er militia group. I am stunned that if it did get through the filter of Bill Belichick, didn't know about it. I'm assuming he knows about it because he knows about everything. That's been kind of a little back-end controversy that continues to linger. And it's not like the Patriots don't have experience with players who had controversial tattoos that may or may not have been evidence in a murder trial. Not that it's going to lead that way with Justin Rohrwasser, obviously, but the idea that you would even roll on a kicker, you can find kickers anywhere. The idea that you would roll the dice when you know you have a built-in controversy with this guy, and it's something that's not going to go away. It's going to continue to bubble. It's going to continue to percolate, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.